Luke Coutinho's back. Oh wait, it's Mr. Sleep.
Luke Coutinho,
A world-renowned holistic health coach, takes an approach to health that goes beyond conventional medicine.
he focuses on lifestyle changes as part of integrative lifestyle medicine and life coaching.
Everyone's gotten lonelier. All of us feel one degree of loneliness. Much more than we did 10 years ago.
Loneliness is nothing but disconnection. So I need to feel happy. What do I connect to? Dopamine. Where do I find dopamine? Social media, binge smoking, mindless alcohol consumption, shopping.
I'm seeing guys my age in their early 30s kind of letting themselves go a lot. Either I've just gotten married or I'm about to get married.
It's consistency over intensity. So sometimes I don't even have 20 minutes for a workout. I'll do a 10-minute workout. When we have patients who come to us, young or elderly, who come to us with depression, the first thing I ask them to commit to, can you start? All of them feel better.
Flexibility and mobility are two things that people don't talk about enough.
So the more I'm using a phone, the more I would actually create mobility for my neck.
Like you've had patients who are in their hundreds.
101 right now.
What are the changes in the body?
There are hormonal changes, which results in their behavior, body parts, reproductive system. 35, take it to 36. We have women who have conceived at 42 beautifully. But
Take us through your experience of dealing with people right from their 20s up till their late 90s.
now men go through a menopause. It's called a midlife crisis. Sometimes it hits men as young as 35 or 36. Hormonal change. Testosterone is low. They get more moody. They cry. Not that crying is bad, but they don't know why they're crying. But they suddenly make this decision at 45, I want to buy a sports car, I want to do this. And they suddenly realize, I don't like a sports car. When you ask most men what they want, most men will first say,
Luke Coutinho returns on TRS once again. Every single episode that he's done with us has always crossed 1 million views. I have the same expectations with this particular episode because it's about a very pertinent topic. It's about aging. It's about the process of sustainable fitness and health. How can you make it fun for yourself? How can you enjoy the process of taking care of your body? And most importantly, this is my request to you guys, definitely share this with your parents, irrespective of their age. Throughout this conversation, we've addressed all possible aging related issues up till the 80s and 90s phase of human life. It's the legend Luke Coutinho who returns on TRS once again. Luke Coutinho's back. Oh wait, it's Mr. Sleep. How are you, Luke?
I'm good, Ranveer. How are you doing, bro? It's so good to be here. So good to be here.
It's intensely good to be sitting in front of you again. You're the only guest we've had who's visited all our studios from the first phase of this podcast. Actually, there was a series we had created before the podcast began. It was called TRS. And you were one of my key guests on that series also. So I know you for close to 10 years of my life now. And it's genuinely an honor knowing you. Like, your podcasts are the ones I actually go back to often because there's so much power that comes out of these conversations. So thank you for being here.
Oh,
again.
thank you for having me. It's good to be here and see your new studio right now. Different energy. I love what you've done, but I mean, fantastic energy.
Oh,
Amazing. The moment we said hi today, it's been 1.5 years since we last met, but it's amazing to be here.
Yeah, when I meet you, usually I'm sad about something or broken about something. And then I'm not kidding about this, but like these conversations actually fix me in so many ways. All my Luke Coutinho conversations have fixed me. Today, I'm just happy.
Me too. I
Yeah.
feel that. I'm just happy.
Yeah, how's life?
Good, good.
What's been up?
It's amazing, actually. Life's good. Life's good. Things in life may not be that great, but I think by changing my perspective, you just learn. You learn so much from your patients. I have the privilege to talk to patients who die, who may die the next week, may die in 10 days because they're terminally ill. But the learnings and the way it makes you change your perception to life. So yeah, it's amazing. Even though I may have 10 problems in my life, I don't know, I'm just saying 10. Could be less, could be more. But I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling amazing.
You're looking great.
Thank
also.
you.
Like you've always looked great, but there's something very buff about you today.
Yeah.
Put on a lot of muscle.
Just the push-ups. Yeah, just
That's
the
it?
push-ups. I'm 44 now. I got to keep maintaining muscle and that's about it. That's about it. I have time for push-ups and squats and body weight. I wish I had more time for a gym, but travel doesn't allow that most of the time. But I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do.
You do a lot of free body?
I love free body. I think that's what works and keeps, lean muscle in place.
So what, could you tell us your routine a little bit? Because this is great, and
Thank you.
like, I mean, I'm seeing guys my age in their early 30s kind of letting themselves go a lot. I don't know why. Like, probably even like 5 years ago, they were all fit, but something switched up in their early 30s where they realize, oh, either I've just gotten married or I'm about to get married, and they really let themselves go. So what's happening here? And I have more questions, but first we'll answer this.
No, I think it's just consistency. It's consistency over intensity. There was a point when I was in my 30s, it was more about how much you can deadlift, how much you can press. Today, it's more about consistency. I realize if you give the human body what it needs, like train that muscle, walk, move, be flexible, but be consistent with it. So sometimes I don't even have 20 minutes for a workout. I'll do a 10-minute workout, but I'll go over my pull-ups, my squats, my push-ups, a little bit of core, done in 10 minutes. Sometimes I think it's better than doing a 1-hour workout and then missing it for 4 to 5 days. So I am focusing on muscle because it makes me feel better. Like I don't have a movie to act in. I don't have my job doesn't require me to be this way, but I'll tell you how it's connected with my mental health. I feel that we feel better mentally and emotionally when we have muscle. And when I scientifically look at it, muscle, testosterone, cognitive health, brain, emotions, dopamine, serotonin. And that's why when we have patients who come to us, young or elderly, who come to us with depression, the first thing I ask them to commit to, can you start working out? And by working out, even if you do 5 push-ups, or you start to lift a dumbbell, and all of them, Ranveer, all of them feel better. That's the connection. There's a pill. There's always a pill. And I'm not against the pills, but hey, what about what you already have built in you? Most of the chemicals that can repair us are already within us. They just got to be tapped out or channeled in the right direction. And exercise does that. So I love feeling good. I love feeling good about myself. And so I have a little bit of muscle on today. And just to get a little bit scientific, today muscle is actually considered to be the largest endocrine organ of the body. Wow. What does endocrine mean? That it's making hormones. We didn't know this 10 years ago. The more muscle we have, we make more of a hormone. It's a kind of a cytokine, but it's called a myokine. So the myokines are constantly communicating with your heart, your liver, your gut, your bones, your libido, everything. So if we train muscle, and I'm not saying we have to have buff muscle, just train muscle, which means you train muscle, it gets more toned, it gets stronger. You don't have to have buff muscle. It's our endocrine system communicating with other parts of the body. And that's why people feel so good. Confidence goes up. When you have muscle, when you walk around with muscle, people have this natural that there's confidence. It's not some of it is ego, but a lot of it is your hormones that are working for you. So it just makes me feel good. And I believe there's a way to age. We should be aging with lesser medication. And that is possible if we have a little more muscle. It controls your sugar levels, your blood pressure, and everything. And you feel good. When you look at the body, why do we have muscle? There's a reason. We're not meant to have more body fat. We're meant to have muscle and body fat. But when there's more body fat, we have more metabolic problems. But if I'm aging with more muscle, and I can look at that, my longest living client right now is 101 years old, and then we have 100, 95, 98, 97. Some of them may be out of shape. They have belly fat, but they also have muscle. And I believe at that age, it's much lesser. See, there are certain cultures that are trying to, put us in these boxes that you lose muscle as you age. We do. But why do we lose muscle? Because we don't work out and we don't have the right amount of nutrition and protein. We don't have to lose it completely. It will deplete. There's no way someone with this much of muscle at 30 or 40 is going to look like that at 70 or 80, but you can still have muscle. So we like to blame it on age that, hey, when I'm 40, this is going to happen. And, I love what you had on the door. Our thoughts become words and actions. If we start to believe at 40, we're going to be this way, at 50, we're going to be this way, the body tends to follow. Of course, we can slow down, be more wise. We're not in our 20s. But of course, we can build muscle at that age as well.
What's your routine? Push-ups?
Push-ups, pull-ups. When I'm at the gym, I have a great trainer and he puts me through compound moves, very simple, basic stuff, which I can do even when I don't have a trainer or even when I'm traveling, because I like consistency. So I don't want to be like, only when I'm in Mumbai, I can do these workouts. So I do a workout schedule. If I have a gym, it's great because you can go progressive. It's nice to be in a gym environment sometimes, but otherwise you need this much of space, a pull-up bar if you're lucky, and you can use your own body weight to at least maintain and build a little bit of muscle.
So pull-ups, squats,
Push-ups, planks, core. Then you can break it down into lunges if you want. You have one kettlebell, you can do a whole body workout with that. You have a pair of dumbbells, you can do a whole compound move workout with that. So there's a lot that we can do.
Do you train?
Starts with the
Do you
mind.
train your arms?
I train my arms through pull-ups.
Wow.
Yeah, I find bicep curls the most boring. I know my trainer keeps saying the more you do it, you'll have better arms, but I find it boring. So I prefer to use pull because I think I just want to feel muscular and feel good. So I've not yet reached that thing that I want to have big arms and stuff like that. I'm cool.
I mean, you don't need more than this. One doesn't need more than like what you have on you right now.
I'm fulfilled with what I have, so I'm good.
How old are you?
I'm 44. Yeah.
It's crazy. And you know, this is the fittest I've seen you in 10 years.
Is it? Good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to evolve because I believe that as we grow, like when I turned 44, I said I should be able to do 44 push-ups. I just like putting that yearly kind of a thing because to get 44 push-ups in a row, it means you need to train regularly and kind of be fit. So I like to set these examples because my mind is a very rebellious mind. I don't like believing ideals of society that, oh, when you're 40, you're going to be this way. When you're 50, I like to challenge it. So I like to think that whatever's within my capacity, as I'm aging, I want to get better because I have so much more information now, knowledge, experience. And if I put that together, why should age be the limiting factor? Of course, I accept I'll gracefully age. I'm not going to color my hair. I'm not going to do any of that. That's part of the aging process. But I do want to challenge the potential I have in my body. So I like to think in the opposite direction.
Mobility exercises and flexibility are two factors I've only recently discovered, maybe in the last couple of years. I always knew it's important. I just didn't know how important it was. Once I started playing sports and I started getting injured, I realized, okay, hold on, need to work on that flexibility to just prevent the injuries. And then flexibility led to so many more things. You know, just having the regular stretching session, if you can do yoga, great. But you need to at least do those basic stretches just due to the processes of aging. And then eventually my physiotherapist, Dr. Divya, she showed me the power of mobility exercises. And I think that everyone knows the benefits of weight training, the benefits of strength training, the gym. Everyone even knows the benefits of sports. But flexibility and mobility are two things that people don't talk about enough.
It's brilliant that you bring this up because it is everything. You know, like years ago, we didn't have this knowledge. It was all about do push-ups, do pull-ups, all of that stuff. But mobility is so important. By the way, Dr. Divya is great. She's fantastic. Her knowledge, everything. The point is, without mobility, you can't have a great workout. So if I want to improve my push-ups, okay, I don't just need strength. If I have mobility in my shoulders, if I have mobility in my pectoral muscles, I'm going to be able to do more.
What is mobility?
So mobility is how our joints move, our range of motion. It's our range of motion. A lot of people say we can't do pull-ups. They're strong people. And they can lift heavy. They can lift more than their body weight, but they can't do a pull-up. What are they lacking? Mobility. Mobility. So mobility is a beautiful thing. To be honest with you, I've just got it into my life in the last 1 year. Because like you, I never thought I knew about it. But until I had my trainer teach me that, hey, Luke, when you do mobility, now look at your form. Now look how much more you can lift. And like you said, I play a lot of football. Okay, and I would feel that little pull come in my lower back and have a good game, good stamina, good endurance, but I was lacking mobility. So mobility and flexibility, and I really love what you said about flexibility beyond yoga. See, we do a 1-hour yoga class, we feel great. But if we can get these little stretches in between the day, like let's say you have a sitting job, you're sitting for 1 hour. But what do you do for 2 minutes every hour? That little flexibility, that downward bend, that backward bend that you do is longevity. It's actually longevity. That saying that we are as old as our spine is absolutely true. So the more we work on our flexibility and our spine, it is more longevity for us. And why longevity? Oxygen. Have you ever tried doing a little bit of flexibility before you sleep? And you sleep so deeply because there's more oxygen reaching your brain, reaching your cells, everything required for a good night of sleep. So that's a brilliant point you bring up.
In this age of sleep-related issues and insomnia, basically, there's a couple of hacks that have worked for me like magic when it comes to curing my own sleep problems. The first was meditating before bed. And I've realized that can be hard for a lot of people. But this basic stretching session can be very, very intensely calming. That's what people don't understand. Like if you're overthinking, a very deep stretching session can actually calm down your brain a lot. I don't get how it happens, but it happens.
No, it happens. You're absolutely right. And if you look at yoga, the traditional yoga, right? You start off with an asana, which is movement. Okay, then you move into breath, which is pranayam. Then it makes meditation way easier. If we just try to start meditating right now, some of us may be able to do it easily. A lot of us will struggle because you prepare for that step. So when you're flexible or when you do these deep stretches, like you said, what is it creating? More blood circulation? More blood circulation means more oxygen, more nutrient flow to cells in your body. Now you're calmer after the stretch and you can meditate more easily.
Maybe while you sit here, can you show us kind of what mobility means, maybe through like your shoulder and all that?
Absolutely. So I could just hold a bottle of water or a light dumbbell or a cable. Okay. And all I'm going to do is move towards my chest and move out. Now, some people will be able to move over. Some people will not even be able to move here. So you need to improve your mobility. So before any workout, even before push-ups, you would do mobility. Otherwise, a lot of people have rotator cuff injuries and shoulder injuries. So it's very important. Like if you look at football players, they do a mobility drill, which a lot of people say, oh, they're warming up. They're not warming up. They're doing a mobility drill, which also gets the heart rate up, which in a way is a warm-up because you're opening up your hip flexors. So if you don't have a hip flexor opening, you're going to get a hamstring pull or a tear. Most people having these tears, ligament tears, is because they haven't opened up. The muscle isn't fired. It's too tight. So when you stimulate it or you move it into a full contraction, it tears. So mobility could be your neck. How I'm able to move my right ear to my, easily. And the more I do it without pushing, I'm creating mobility, back, front. We're used to the mobile. That's why this position's easy. But most people, when they start to move their head back, they'll feel like little pins and needles over there because we're not used to that position. So the more I'm using a phone, the more I would actually create mobility for my neck. And then for my hip, doing twist movements, touching my toes without bending my knees, doing a backward bend. All of these are working out mobility in some way.
The other topic I wanted to speak about is joint strength, like the strength within joints. This is something I'd heard about when I'd started lifting weights, where everyone was just chasing aesthetics and bigger muscles. But there was this one old Parsi gentleman who used to do a lot of joint strength related work. It was actually mobility exercises, but with a little weight added on.
Yes.
And I would often see that, okay, that guy is way stronger at certain lifts than like the other guys. Because I think that you can generate some power through the joints as well. What I'm also assuming is that, okay, here's the case of this Parsi gentleman who wanted to lift weights, but every man and every woman needs to work on their joint strength as they age also. I mean, just at 30, I'm figuring this whole flexibility and mobility angle. I'm curious to see what happens to my body and my friends' bodies in their 40s. And one big topic that I think about a lot is this joint strength. I feel like I've started doing a lot of, mudgals.
Yes.
Mudgar.
That's excellent for your joints and mobility together. Because you see, joints and muscle go together. What makes a stronger joint? Muscle. Because they work together with each other. So the more muscle I challenge, I train, the stronger joints I have. Now, to train muscle safely without injury, I also need strong joints. So they're both interconnected. So for your joints, you're looking at your nutrients, right from your vitamin D3s to your B12s to the whole spectrum of nutrients that any joint or muscle tissue requires. 2, we're looking at posture. Let's say we've done 1 hour of mobility and flexibility today, but we go back to our day and we're sitting in the wrong posture, hunched up. It just takes away from that class, and which is why we find mobility should be actually making us more mobile. But if we struggle and it's getting harder and harder as we do it because we're not supporting it with the right posture. So if I really want to train, everything is muscle memory. Okay, so your body remembers posture. Then you don't have to remind yourself, sit with a straight posture. So the importance of mobility is also to take those movements into your daily life. How you sit, what you do between sitting, how you stand, how you bend down to pick something up, how you pick up a weight. All of these things tie in. So even yoga, your yoga is only as good as your 1 hour session. But the beauty of yoga is, how do I slip the learnings of yoga into my day? Am I able to take a deep breath? more often than rather just when I'm doing pranayam? Am I able to sit on my chair and actually stretch my back, open up on a flight, wherever I am? Now that's when we're holistically evolving, because we're taking what we learn in a 1-hour class and we're actually putting it into practice. That's how we, so if you continue with this, your 40s, 50s, and 70s and 80s is dependent on what you do today.
Okay.
And it's never too late to start. It's never too late to start. That's the beauty of the human body. It's only late when it's too late.
Let's do this 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Up till, like, you've had patients who are in their hundreds.
101 right now. 101.
This is insane. Take us through your experience of dealing with people right from their 20s up till their late 90s. What are the changes in the body? Like, you can take each decade at a time, and what your mindset is when you're helping them.
Right. So, see, I think I want to start off with the word perception. Today, most people are suffering and struggling because they have the wrong perception of everything, whether it's a relationship. The problem is not relationships. The problem is people's perception, which then molds their behavior, attitude and behavior. It's the same thing with health. From the moment we're born, we start to die. Okay, now let's not look at it in a pessimistic way, but think about it. The moment we're born, the process of death starts. Every cell. Right now, as we speak, there are cells dying and growing. But we look at it beautifully. How do I control the healthy turnover of cells? So there are phases in our life which are not controlled by you and me. We would wish we could control it. Hormones. So a young boy goes into puberty, a young girl goes into puberty. There are hormonal changes which results in their behavior, body parts, reproductive system, energies, libido. That's not within our control. Okay, it will happen. You move into your 20s, which originally is a body is primed to make a baby, conceive a baby, all of that. I'm not preaching to people when to have babies. We're just going purely through science and anatomy. Okay? Now, as I move to 20s, because the body's young, it can handle childbirth. The quality of a male sperm is way, way better than in the 30s and 40s.
Really?
That's why things happen at a particular age. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm not preaching who should have a baby when. It's for our understanding. It's also connected with the cycle of life. Now, you have a baby, okay? Your body can heal faster because it's a younger body. Doesn't mean people who are having babies in their 30s and 40s can't heal, but there would be a delay in the process. It's like a 70-year-old patient going through a surgery versus a 20-year-old. Who's going to heal faster? The 20-year-old, because their body's capability is way more than a 70. But the 70 will also heal. May need more inflammatories, anti-inflammatories to bring down inflammation. So there's a time and phase for everyone. Now, I can still choose to have babies and make babies when I'm 30, even my late 30s. It depends on how I'm looking after myself. I can't expect to be binge drinking alcohol, smoking drugs, all of that stuff, and expect to have an easy childbirth at 35 and 40. I may decide I want to put my career first. I'm not ready. I'm dealing with traumas. I need to heal before I bring a new child in the world. Do that. Take it to 35, take it to 36. We have women who have conceived at 42 beautifully. But personal responsibility to look after yourself. The more you look after yourself, your body's going to support something as major as a pregnancy, as beautiful as a pregnancy, okay, more easily. So that's number one. 20, we're going through this. Our hormones are high. Men have more testosterone. Women's estrogen's perfect. That's the time if you have excess weight, you want to get rid of it. You want to start the process of building muscle, you can. You can still build muscle and get weight off at 70, but the process is going to be a little slower because our metabolic power changes. Why does it change? Testosterone. So that's why men and women lose muscle mass as they age, because testosterone changes, right? So now we move into our 30s. And now look at cycles of life. When I'm a young kid, 6 and 7, you should be having imaginary tea parties. You should be talking about fairies and magic and stuff. That's the phase of life you're in. Your brain is in an imaginary frequency. You're in theta. You learn through seeing. That's why children can have fun in having a tea party without tea in a cup. Imagine, you got to live each phase of your life. Now, when you're a teenager, you got to live that phase of your life that is determined by your hormones. Of course, I'm not saying we got to be violent. We don't have to jump into drugs. I'm saying we channel more into creativity, more into challenging thought processes, challenging ideals in the respectful way, right way, because you're opening up your own life. As we move into our 20s, we start to change because our brain is changing. So we will change. Our thoughts change. Someone moves into a spiritual path. What changes? Their thoughts and their actions, right? So as we move into our 30s and 40s, that's the time we're working, creating businesses. We're using the energies we have. as we move into our 50s, you'll start seeing a lot of people automatically move to spirituality. Automatically. Phases of their life are complete, and now you start moving into automatic spirituality. We can move into spirituality at a young age as well, but there is a time and place for everything. Look at nature. You plant a seed in the wrong environment, is it going to grow? No. You plant a seed in the right season, there is time for rain, there is time for heat, and the seed grows beautifully. Without trauma, it will sprout, it'll reap. The point is we need to go through our phases in life. It doesn't mean that at 15 I can't be spiritual. I can, but I can't make it my life. At 15, 16, 17, I'm also supposed to live life, because by living life, my spiritual practice gets stronger. Otherwise, it's only book knowledge. So the point is we move through phase, then 70, 80. What's changing in the body? Women go through menopause. A lot of women need to see menopause as a gift. And I'm not preaching to them. They're resisting it. And that's why menopause is becoming more difficult. It's a natural thing, like pregnancy. There are going to be changes, like puberty. There are going to be changes. These are gifts. And there's this beautiful Japanese doctor that spoke to me once on a flight about if women look at menopause as a gift, because after menopause, women actually stop caring about the things that they would care about too much. Like they don't care about what people say. They don't care about the husband that's nagging them or not doing their work, because menopause even changes the way you think, your cognitive health. But now we've made menopause so scary that, oh, your partner won't enjoy sex with you, you'll put on weight, you'll have hot flushes. My question is, does every woman going through menopause go through this? The answer is no. So what are we doing differently? What are the choices we're making and we're not making? So we need to accept this. Now men go through a menopause too. It's called andropause. It's called a midlife crisis. Sometimes it hits men as young as 35 or 36. Hormonal change. Testosterone is low. They get more moody. They cry. Not that crying is bad, but they don't know why they're crying. Or they suddenly make this decision at 45, I want to buy a sports car, I want to do this. And they suddenly realize, I don't like a sports car. I just did it. It's not a bad thing, but we also go through that. And that's why, maintaining hormonal health, training, building. Every time I say building muscle, I'm not talking about bodybuilder. I'm talking about challenging muscle. We have muscle for a reason. So that's how our body's changing. Now, when we're 60, 70, 80, we're taught that, okay, you made your life, you did business, you settled your children, sit down and watch TV. Biggest mistake. Retire. Biggest mistake. Retire from your work, but have something else that keeps you engaged. Otherwise, you are going to have cognitive decline. You are going to have Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and dementia. There are many reasons for that too. But one of them is cognitive decline. No man should ever retire. You can retire from your job, but have something else that you're so passionate about. It could be a hobby. It could be golf. It could be whatever. But keep adding value. Keep doing something that really makes you. Your life shouldn't be about sitting at home, watching TV, waiting for your grandchildren to come home. No, humans were not meant for that. We're meant to always be doing something. Doing work, relaxing. Doing work and relaxing. So these are the phases all of us go through in life. But sometimes we see these phases coming earlier in life because we're so stressed out. The more we stress out, the body starts to age. I'll give you a simple thing, Ranveer. Longevity is connected with our ability to squat and even our grip strength. Now, you would think, how? Why? And just listen to this. Because humans are supposed to be able-bodied. We should be able to do work. So the moment the human brain realizes that we can't work anymore because we don't have grip strength. Grip strength is required to lift, carry, move, and squat. Is required for you to bend down and pick up things. The brain sends a message that, this body isn't able-bodied anymore. Slow down. Oof. The first stage of aging is the messaging between the brain. It's not NAD, NMN, all of that stuff. That's secondary. It's what your brains communicate. Or if every day I wake up, my back's pain, I feel like an old man. I think I'm old. I can't do this. What does the brain get? A message. This guy or girl or whichever gender is not able-bodied. Slow down. The body is trying to support your thoughts and your actions. So if I don't use a muscle, the body realizes this guy doesn't need any muscle. You're not able-bodied anymore. And that's why movement is longevity. At any age, movement is longevity, whether it's 10 minutes or whether it's an hour. That's the huge connection. And that's why we tell people, train your grip strength. Anyone, you're 90 years old, sitting at home, you have those grip strength. Maybe you want to be able to hang on a bar. For most people who can't do a pull-up, just hang on a bar. Your grip strength sends a message to your brain that you're able-bodied. So most people are aging before their time because they're acting it, they're thinking it, and their bodies are not supporting it. So the brain follows signals of what we think and communicates it to every body part.
When we began this conversation, I didn't have a conversational angle. I was just happy to meet you. And I've quickly realized that today's conversational angle is podcast for parents. I think it's such a key topic, and I'll tell you why. I'm about to turn 31, like within a few weeks. All my friends of my age, when we meet, we talk about this aging parents problem. And it's two different generations with very, very different mentalities, very, very different mindsets. Our parents are just about turning 60. And a lot of my friends are not sure about how to deal with aging parents. Because a lot of them don't take help often. And this is also one of those life skills that you only learn as life happens to you.
True.
Which is why even if there's teenagers and people in their early 20s watching this, you Gen Zs, you guys are going to face this in a few years. I also feel that generation of human beings didn't have podcasts, didn't have Luke Coutinho.
And you.
No. This combination.
Us.
Because we've always tackled these podcasts from a particular thematic angle. Like we've done a mental health one, we've done a weight loss one. Today we should talk about this whole process of aging, everything it brings, everything that people can change. Because I see a lot of people in their early 60s especially, and I'd also say 50s, again, letting themselves go. Just buying a lot of processed food packets, eating them every day, all day. When their kids go up to them and say that, listen, why are you doing this? Why are you putting this inside your body? The response is usually, I'm done with life now. I've lived my life. My age to be fit has gone away. And then something happens, some kind of degradation happens in their body. And then they face a lot of pain, some kind of suffering due to that degradation, which could have been stopped. How do you even I don't want to use the word mentor because all these are older people, but how do you kind of advise parents? And do you get people who bring their parents to you, where sometimes the parents are not willing to listen to even Luke? Like, how do you deal with this? And also you've been through this. You're 44 years old. So you've gone through this for the last 15, 20 years of your life, having aging parents yourself. What's your advice to the parents? What's your advice to people my age who are seeing aging parents for the first time? Because you see these little moments of, okay, my dad and mom are kind of getting older now.
So see, there's a lot deeper than just what they should do. It comes from generational trauma that their parents handed over to them and they've handed over to their kids. The issue is not the generation gap. And I'm going to come to this. This is a brilliant, brilliant question. So yes, we get a lot of young kids bringing their parents to us. I've had some parts of my parents being stubborn. Like, they don't want to give up white bread. They believe they've been like 70, 80 without a problem, no diabetes, super fit, all of that stuff. Agree. The point is, what parents need to understand, number one, is why do we make choices that we know are wrong for us, but we still do it? That's number one, okay? Every human who makes a wrong choice with consciousness is because they have some suffering. Now, when I'm saying suffering, don't look at it in a negative way. There is something, okay, that is missing in their life. And we're going to come to that. 3 powerful words. This changes everything. It heals inner child, it heals generational trauma, parent-sibling relationships, all of that stuff. So there are 2 things. Parents look at the generation below, okay, and they're like, hey, we don't have half the problems y'all have. Y'all have organic food, y'all have this, y'all have freedom to do so many things, but y'all have more lifestyle diseases than us. So it's always that kind of debate, we're doing it right, you're doing it wrong. Okay, there are choices and changes that everyone needs to make. Parents out there need to understand that the food chain that they were eating at their time was very different from today. Today, most of our food is spurious. Most of the protein brands in the market are fake, are spurious. It's already out there. You don't know what to eat. The point is the food chain is different. White bread and brown bread was very different 15 years ago from it is today. 2, our parents were used to having a teaspoon of sugar in the morning tea, evening tea, 2 Marie cookies. That's it. They didn't go out as much as people go out today, eat outside food, have the availability of pastries and everything around us. So number one, the problem has not always been sugar. It's the consumption of sugar, the overconsumption of sugar. The 101-year-old person and all my 95s, they still have white sugar in their 2 cups of tea every single day. But what they have is control and discipline. They won't keep ordering stuff out on, platforms and stuff. So my honest message to parents is make the change where you have to, because disease is changing, expression of genes is changing, environments are changing, and the quality of food is changing.
Disease is changing, expressions of genes is changing.
The quality of food is changing, and environment is changing,
Okay.
which means we have to change too.
I think quality of food and environment, people understand. It's pollution, it's stress, etc. Social media. Quality of food, people understand. Genes are changing and disease.
Yes.
Explain these two.
Look at it. Today, disease expresses itself differently in everyone. Some people have a primary tumor. Some people have metastatic tumors in no time. What is changing? What is changing a gene to upregulate into a cancer, into an Alzheimer's? It is environment. Epigenetics, as we know, is a science. What does epi mean? Environment. Environment controls genes. You and I can have the worst gene in our body, but it never has to manifest. All the genetic tests can show us that we have the worst genes, but it never has to manifest into a disease if we are in control of our internal environment and our external environment. That's what epigenetics is, and that is the hope for so many patients who do their gene tests and say, oh no, there's breast cancer, there's prostate cancer, and now these patients would have just die of fear. But what are they told? Hey, it's epigenetics. You're aware you have the gene. All the more reason, create the right lifestyle so you don't trigger the gene to upregulate. Now, many of these foods, look at allergies today. Why are people getting sudden allergies? You would eat wheat before, but you have problems today. Milk before, certain foods. Why? The quality of food has changed. Our systems don't have the microbes or the DNA to break down those foods. So how does the body respond? Allergies, autoimmune conditions. So my honest message to parents out there is we all know we need to change. We all evolve through change. So wherever we can make the change, I'm not saying you got to jump in and spend a lot of money on organic food. If you can, that's your choice. I'm saying the more you are aligned with what nature's given you. Let's keep the statistics simple. 90% what nature gives you, 10% have your bag of chips, have your ice cream, all of that. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But most people are the opposite. 70% junk out of a packet, quick foods to make, and they've moved away from natural foods. That's the first thing. Now, second is to everyone trying to look after parents. Number one is our intention. You know how many parents turn around and say, my child wants me to look after myself? Ask him how many hours he sleeps. Why is he smoking? Why is she vaping? All of that stuff. If any problem has to be solved in life, it is with understanding, and if it is the want to, I understand. If I want you to stay healthy, am I leading? Every change that has happened in the world is through leadership. Children between 0 and 8 learn through what they see, what their teachers model and what their parents model, not through what they're told. You cannot tell a child what to do because they're in a theta stage. They work through hypnosis. I see and I do. After 8, 9, 10, 11, now that's when children start to question why, because they're in a different phase. They're no longer in theta. So if we want our families to heal, there is also the generational trauma. Ranveer, these are the 3 most important things. Every baby, every child, every kid looks for 3 things for a life which will help you make the right decisions. And if you make the wrong decisions, you come back on path. Love, attention and appreciation. 3, care, a sense of belonging. Any child who lacks one of these or all of these, will find it outside of their family. They'll find it with a drug dealer. They'll find it in a bar. They'll find it in the wrong company. Not to judge all of these things. I've had teenagers come and say, Luke, I get more love from my friends who do drugs than my own family. And he's right. She's right. These are the missing elements. Now, it's not only for kids. It's even for adults. Imagine a parent who doesn't have one of these or all of them. Even at 70, we expect them to be mature and understanding. No, the human soul needs what the human soul needs. And that's why sometimes I tell you in a quick way, this could be a whole, this whole family trauma, generations, you don't understand me. It's not about understanding. Each party is seeking appreciation, validation, love, and a sense of belonging and care.
What validation are 70-year-old parents seeking?
Approval. Like every child is looking. The most destroyed relationships is a mother, daughter, father, son. A son still looking out for approval from a father. Okay, I met the fathers and the sons. No, I want my son to be tough. He should be this. I should correct him. Agreed. Absolutely. Fantastic. That's at an objective level. But do you approve of your son with love for everything else? I can say, Ranveer, I don't like your behavior. You're doing this wrong. I love you, but I don't love your behavior. I'm approving. I'm reinforcing that nothing's changed between, I still approve of you. When that approval is missing, most fathers and sons, and I'm telling you, I have seen men on their deathbed and their children who are now 40, 50 still craving that approval. Approval. And sometimes I'm just, please approve of your son before you die. That'll be the biggest gift you give. And the same thing with a mother and daughter. The same thing. And I'm telling you, parents at 70, 80 are still looking for that approval. They realize they might have messed up some parts of the childhood. No one gets trained to be a parent. No one gets trained to be a parent. I remember my dad telling me before he died, you know what he told me? He said, if there's something you didn't like in the way I brought you up, just do it better with your kid. Simple. We all make mistakes, whatever it is. But the point is, you know how many parents today need to just reflect and apologize to their children? And how many children have to apologize to their parents for something or the other? And if one of these three things come in their life, we're fighting over food and exercise. Why do most people not work out? They care about their body. They know because they have voids that need to be filled that are bigger than exercise. You love a person will start working out. Think about it. When someone falls in love, they want to look good, you hit the gym, whatever. The moment you're in love, the honeymoon period is over. Most people go back to normal. Why? That void is already filled. So it all comes down to our parents. You can't expect your parents to understand you. We're such a different generation. We know so much more that they don't know. And they can't expect us to understand them. Some parents have gone through World War II, World War I. We will never understand what they've gone through. So some things you got to give respect and listen. And the other things, of course, you have egoistic parents and egoistic children. Fighting for ego and pride, that's your downfall. But most parents out there are just waiting for that approval from their children. And most children, parents, are waiting for you to apologize if you have made a mistake. I know so many parents are beating up their kids. Some of them say that, hey, that made me who I am today. And some of them got traumatized. And today as a parent, if you realize that, hey, that messed up my kid, you can't change the past, but say sorry to your kid because that's a form of approval. Your kids can't do anything either, but that approval that they get is a form of deep love. The relationship will change immediately. But the ego of a parent or a child or a teenager, because you want to fight and you want to be right. You see, it's the want to be right that is destroying humanity today. The want to be right with ego and pride. Of course, who has a perfect parent out there? Are my parents perfect? No. Do I love them? Yes. Because I know what they've done. Who has a perfect child? Who has a perfect teenager? It's difficult for everyone. But the moment ego and pride comes in, I'm the parent, so listen to me. Approval is one of the most important things. Look at half the people showing flesh on Instagram. What are they looking for? Approval. What is validation? A seek of approval. It's so desperate that you're okay getting it from people you don't even know. Oof. So the point is, every human needs appreciation. And I want people, I have a lot of young people come and look. I say, what is it that you want in a relationship? You know what most young girls, boys, teenagers, divorced partners say? The first thing they say is, I want appreciation. And some people say, why do you need? You should be self-appreciated. You should find, no, we're meant to be social beings. Of course, I should be able to love myself, appreciate myself. But of course, when you get appreciation from someone, you just want to do more and more of that. But if you don't get it in your relationship, you will find it in the next person who appreciates you. And if you're weak, guess what's going to break? Any relationship. Any marriage. It happens all the time. Most of them have got into it because they felt more loved, appreciated, validated, or cared for than in their original relationship. That's not a reason for you to do that. You can still communicate and get out of a relationship if you want to. There's the right way of doing it, the wrong way, and there's the weak way of doing it, which many people succumb to. But if you look at most people who have gotten into affairs or out of relationships, it's because of the lack of these three things. Every kid, every senior citizen, everyone needs these three things. So today when we look at that and I see someone, an aggressive parent, what do I see? I see anger, I see ego, but I also see a lack of love, appreciation, and a sense of belonging. And now, if that's fitted in, of course, you will want to do more for yourself. You'll care about yourself because there's value. If you're not loved, do you feel valuable? If you have no appreciation, do you feel valuable? Then we got to fake it. I need a Gucci, I need a Louis Vuitton. Nothing against the brands. I love those brands. But it's become my identity. There are two kinds of people. You wear brands because you need it to build your identity, or you wear brands because, hey, I love it. I feel good. It makes me... But some people think that if I wear a Gucci, people will see me as rich. That's a big problem. Wear a Gucci because you love it. Wear a Nike because it's great for your sports or what you do. But don't do it because you feel your value is going to go up because you've done something, because you're lacking these three things. Love. Now, love doesn't always have to come from a partner. I can be in a relationship. You can be in a relationship where we don't get that kind of love that we want. But I'm getting it from a mom. I'm getting it from a dad. Love is love. It's an energy. It's an energy. It's going to be different for everyone. But approval, Ranveer, that is it. So today, I think parents have to reflect, children, teenagers have to reflect, where is it that I owe an apology to my parents? Where can I put my pride down? And parents too. And I can't tell you how the relationship will change. Then things like caring about yourself, making the right choices of food and all of those things. The very fact that you need to look after someone's health who doesn't care about themselves. It's not that they don't care about themselves. Most of their energy is going into seeking love, attention, appreciation, care, and a sense of belonging.
There's some stuff I want to say which is like slightly controversial. It's from our last conversation. Do you remember what it was about?
Approval?
It was about psilocybin.
Psilocybin, yeah.
It sparked off something in my mind, okay? And maybe I won't highlight the psilocybin session as much. I really want to highlight the following, which is that I had a very strained relationship with my father for 29 years of my life, maybe 30 years of my life. I just had a sit down with him and I told him very politely and very empathetically that, hey, we've not spoken for a long time. This is the problem I had when I was growing up. And he didn't really respond to the problems. He kind of explained to me about like his predicament and his mindset in those years. There wasn't any solution that came out of that situation. But the fact that we just had an open conversation with no solution healed the relationship after that. And now we're fine for the first time in 30 years.
There doesn't ever have to be a solution, but there was acceptance because you had a platform to be heard, to communicate, to express.
But it began with just feeling the little extra empathy for him at age 29 because of what I mentioned earlier. Just,
See,
it sparked off something.
I'll come back to psilocybin. It has its place. There is no doubt about it. I've worked closely with Dr. Gabor Mate. We met in California several times. We did talks together. He does psilocybin sessions as well. There is no doubt that psilocybin can help us break certain fears. How? Break fears by giving us the ability to speak. Why is fear our biggest problem? Because it contains us. It prisons us. But today, if I drop fear and I speak, okay, what was holding me back? Fear. Psilocybin has the ability to help us overcome fears by taking the right action. It's not going to happen magically. It'll break down what's holding me back. Maybe it's courage, strength, whatever it is. So there is a direct connection with that. People can open up and break fears when done the right way. So I'm talking about psilocybin in two ways. There are people who misuse it because, hey, it's cool, it's a drug, let's do this. And there are people who use, everything is intention. If you use it with intention, the right way, with the right guidance, all of these things can happen because we live in a world where we all have our fears. What would he think? What would she think? What would he do? What would she do? But the point is, it's beautiful. I'm happy. I remember the conversation what we had last time. And we should never get into conversations with our parents with an intention that I want a solution. Now that's demand. That's ego. Just start off with talking, communicating. The fact that he heard you and you could hear him is expression. Expression heals most people.
Yeah, that relationship has become so relaxed.
I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thank you, bro. And
So
I've spoken
happy
about
for
this to you for years now. Right from when we shot at
Yeah.
Bandra Social,
Yeah.
Carter Road Social. Uh, I mean, then you've seen not just beer biceps grow, but you've seen the bro in me change as well. So it just relaxed my mind and my soul to such a deep degree. Having a relaxed equation with my father for the first time in my life, I feel like I've become more empathetic towards him, obviously.
Yeah, but talk about other aspects of your life as well.
I've become more empathetic towards myself. I've become more empathetic towards the world because I've been more empathetic towards my father.
So what was holding you back from all of these things? The father-son relationship. And that's the truth. I'm telling you, so many young boys and men out there, if they just got the approval of their father. Like I'm telling you, I have people in jail too. Okay? And I have fathers, okay, who tell me, I go to meet my son in jail. Okay? Yes, you're punished for your crime, but I still love you. That approval. Of course, everyone will do bad stuff. Show me one human who is without sin. Show me one human who's without flaw. You're just great. Everyone's just great at showing they're perfect and good all the time. They exist. But I always tell parents, you want to discipline your kid, how are you doing it? You bring them up. That's your choice. But first, reaffirm that you love them. Don't create detachment. Don't make them think, yes, I'm at fault for this behavior, but I'm still loved. When anyone gets approval from their parents, because we're all seeking that. Some people say, my father's an old man, what will approval do? You have no idea. So I'm so happy that you've brought this up because this will send a message to so many people out there. I've just spoken about approval and you've lived it. Fantastic.
That one conversation which I had with him. So he visited me in my own house for the first time in 2.5 years after me shifting.
That's so beautiful.
So just having him sit in my house and all, it was a whole experience. That conversation for like 45 minutes to an hour was uncomfortable for me because I was starting to get triggered by some of his responses, but the trick was to not act upon your own triggers. And that was years of meditation at play where you can at least spot that, okay, this is my trigger. I can feel that anger rising, but I'm not going to act upon it. Finish that conversation entirely. So I've seen that generation of men, at least in India, they have a habit of making fun of like these kind of heavy conversations. It's a very bro mechanism to brush off tension, to brush it under the carpet. But I told him, hold on, don't crack jokes right now because the jokes will trigger me. Being brushed aside. And he listened. He was like, okay, tell me. He just listened to me. That was it. But it's very important to have that uncomfortable 45-minute or an hour-long conversation with your father, if you're a son, or with your mom, if you're a daughter.
Yeah. Bro, what I like what you've done in this, it's not just that you had this conversation, but you were yourself. You had the ability to tell him, please don't crack the jokes right now. You were expressive. A lot of people would have moved back into victim mode. See, I can't even have a conversation with my father. Yes. He makes a joke. But you actually were the bigger person in that conversation. And your father was also a bigger person because he stayed on to that conversation. He said, okay, fine, I won't do it. See, this is what acceptance is. No one's perfect. No one is going to say the things that we want them to say the way we want to hear it. My mom, anyone may say something in their way which has an intention of real goodness. But because we've not heard it the way we want to, we'll be like, how could you say that? And that's why most relationships are broken, because we have expectation. I love what you did in that conversation. You stood up for what you want and you kept it going. Otherwise, you could have slipped into victim mode. It's useless. I've tried. Give up immediately.
I also want to highlight this one conversation I had maybe a few months post the conversation we just spoke about, where I had a fight with him again. But I handled the fight better.
Beautiful.
And I think he handled the forgiveness better as well. And I kind of lashed out at him because I got triggered about something. He felt bad, and within the next hour, I called him and said, listen, you and me have come far, like after like so long. I'm sorry, it's not like that. And he forgave me like that.
Beautiful.
So I feel like that main conversation also, it's changed something in him. He's feeling better. I'm visiting him more. All these things. But I think dealing with aging parents, it's a very important skill that should be spoken about.
Yeah. But bro, take a lesson out of what you just said. See, sometimes we have to be the bigger person. Of course, our parents, elderly, we respect. Respect is a very, very big word. But sometimes we need to be the bigger person in that, because we don't know what, I'm not saying your dad, my dad, we don't know what they've gone through. Have we ever sat down our dads to ask the kind of life they went through? That's made them who they are. And at that age, it's very difficult to change. But at our age, it's easier. So sometimes we need to be the bigger person, but we're just caught into that fight with parents or whatever because we're lacking the 3 words that I spoke about: love, approval, validation, and a sense of belonging and security. When someone feels safe, when someone is in love, when someone's getting approval, they don't care. That's fulfillment. You don't care what people think about you. You don't care what happens. You're fulfilled. You're fulfilled. When we're constantly chasing this illusion of happiness, happiness is never meant to be permanent. It's because we lack these 3 things. And that's why I ask everyone today, all of us might find I'm lacking on this. Where can I find it? Which relationship do I need to rekindle? Oh, I used to get this from my brother. I haven't spoken to my brother for 2 months. Maybe we should meet often. Call, fly down, see him. Rekindle the sources where you were once getting this or getting it. Do it the right way. And I'm telling you, when we're fulfilled with these 3 things, our life is very, very different. The small things that happen, we get through it because we're fulfilled.
So there are phases of self-doubt I deal with, and I've dealt with it so much more early on in life. And I think, especially from a career perspective, things have panned out well over time. But even now, there's these bouts of self-doubt that I'll get. One of my key ways to solve it is thinking about your career. I actually go back down to Luke Coutinho and how you started at 34. That was our first conversation we had on TRS, I remember. You began your career at 34. And here we have like 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds thinking about what they'll do in life. And is it too late? Are they too old? Yes, I'm highlighting a career perspective here. But what I'm truly trying to highlight is general ambition within life. The ambition doesn't just have to be about your career. It could be about your relationships, your own mental health, your own self-image. Again, it's never too late to begin working on the vision of what you want to become in life. I have a question for you. What happened at age 33 for you? Like, how did you spark it off? Again, here we're talking about a career angle, but I feel, and this is guesswork, I'm guessing that your personality also started changing heavily at 34 and beyond. Fair to say?
Absolutely.
So,
we're always changing, Ranveer, at every given point. At 28, I was a very different person than I was 33. Today, I'm a very, very different person from who I was at 34. Because it's not because I just want to change. We're changing. Hormonally, cognitively, spiritually. We're all changing. But it's never too late. You're right. Today, I see a lot of people who have a tick box that when I do this, then I'll do this. When I do this. No, life, we're meant to flow. When I say flow, not sit back with a joint and a beer and that flow. My point of flow is have an intention. I'm a huge fan of intention. I had an intention that this is how I want to be. I want to help people. I want to use my skill. I want to fill the gap that I saw, which was lifestyle medicine. Intention was clear. I flowed with it. When I was ready, I saw the opportunity and I jumped into it.
Did you have a bit of a negative self-image in your 20s and early 30s? I can't imagine you having a negative self-image.
There may have been a little bit, but nothing that I really remember about. I mean, when you're a teenager, you always look at looks, or you always look at, who's better than you and stuff like that. I think I went through the normal teenage phase, but I've never really thought about I've never gone through a negative image in terms of, I think my most difficult part was at 34, when you're up against all the medical world, the doctors, who's this guy saying this and saying that and stuff like that. That's when I said, do I need to fit in now? Do I need to change? Do I need to whatever? But then I had one person who said, be who you are because the world needs this truth right now. And when I look from 34 to 38, today we have literally the medical world with us. So I think I could have been phased out. I did feel negative at that point. I was like, am I wrong? The self-doubt, which is also called an imposter syndrome, but I'm doing great work. People are coming to me. They're healing. Their results are better. And over here, you feel because you're getting all the negativity on the side, was it only luck? Was it only this? So all of us go through it. I go through it sometimes as well. I may have 10 great cancer patients in remission, and then I have one death. But that one death makes you think, is this really what I should be doing? I lost a patient today. Imposter syndrome. You'll kick yourself and say, hey, don't forget what you have over there. And you're not in control of life and death. You can only do your best. So I think that whole mantra of, have you done your best? That's all you can do. Leave everything other than that. So negative self-image, I've really never had the issue of having to fit in because I was always a reserved person, very few friends, always being with people where I felt accepted, not wanting to be in a place where someone doesn't accept me. Just don't be in that place. So I've always tried to walk with people where there's conformity and kind of, so not really. Yeah.
Just want to tell you, and I think you know this, and I've said this before so many times, but whenever I meet you in life, I have aged a bit. You have aged a bit, and I'm always left with the feeling of wanting to become you, like in life later on. Like, you're the guy I aspire to be, like in terms of mindset, in terms of how you are in the world, the way you talk. So
that's kind of you to say. We always learn from each other. My role model used to be Mike Tyson. And people will say, how could you be a aggressive person? Whatever it is. I'm not here to judge him. What did I like him for? I liked him for that, that aggressiveness and never giving up. Not beating someone, not biting off an ear. I loved him and I still love him. Just that never give up attitude. People were trolling him. People, when he went to prison, people had the most negative things to say. He could have become a victim to it. That way I have so many role models where I take away attitudes. I love to take away attitudes from that. I know your journey too. Remember the run at Nariman Point with Vishal and all of that stuff. And you were explaining your dream. It had not yet happened for you, Ranveer. You were talking about it with so much passion. 1 month later, you made it happen. And so I don't forget these things as well because I'm a huge believer that anyone today struggling in life is because of their attitude. It's purely because of their attitude. I know people with the most beautiful degrees and studies, but the wrong attitude. Patients don't want to work with them, even though they're so qualified that we have to say, listen, at least go for their knowledge. But no one wants to be with people who have the wrong attitude. And today you have people with the wrong attitude. You may have not found your purpose in life, not you. So, but why do you need the bad attitude? Fine, be okay with it. Change your attitude. Maybe you'll find your purpose when your attitude changes because attitude is everything. And you kept your attitude going right through till this date. And that's why you are where you are.
I wonder what creates that bad attitude in those people because they're living in the same world that all of us are living in. So why do some people end up with a better attitude than others?
See, what creates a bad attitude is number one. Of course, we can have it. I may just say I'm chilled in Bombay traffic. When I look at my watch and I'm going to be 10 minutes late, I will get triggered, but I'm still in control. The point is, a bad attitude comes from entitlement, a feeling of entitlement, superiority, ego, inflated ego, and pride. That's it. Nothing else. Of course, all our attitudes will change. When you're going through something bad, your attitude can change. It's a response to your emotion. But do you plan to carry on that attitude? Like many things in the country can make us angry right now. I'm not talking politics. Many things. Like the news, they only show you bad stuff. They have the capability to take at least 5 minutes of the show and show you something great happening in the world. But they don't do it. That pisses you off because they don't care about people. They care about ratings. They care about drama. They care about fear. That's how it is. Bad attitude. But the point is, we'll all slip between good attitudes and bad attitude. But the person who wears their bad attitude into meetings, another thing, these people are always complaining, always blaming, whining. The want to pull down someone is because it just makes them feel better. Instead of them rising and feeling good too, they want to be at their low level. Wrong attitude. But they also want you at that level. Everyone vibrates at a frequency, right? What are the lowest vibrational frequencies? Ingratitude, whining, complaining, feeling like a victim, blaming, projecting. The lowest, which is the highest vibration. In between, you have music, you have everything else. The highest vibration is love and gratitude. The highest. So I could be feeling the lowest in my life right now, bitter. But if I feel loved, or I can evoke love from a parent, go home and say, I'm feeling horrible, and your mom hugs you, or whoever, your partner, your vibration is going to change. Or if I can look at my life's horrible right now, but you have one thing to be grateful for. The energy changes, your attitude changes. But attitude is also a lot of people who feel entitled. They feel entitled that I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. No, you're nothing.
And it gets more coagulated with age. That's what which is why I question how one can break the attitude of someone in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
It's simple again, the missing words.
Same.
Because you hold on, right? A businessman has power, or a businesswoman. In a factory, everyone idles him or her. You control, okay? Now, when you don't have your business anymore, you're retired, your children took over, where does that feeling of appreciation come from? A lot of workaholics are workaholics because they get more appreciation at their workplace than they get at home.
Wow.
So my point is, these parents are mostly still lacking that. Look at the mother-in-law syndrome in our country that is destroying marriages. Destroying. There's also father-in-law syndrome. You know, the constant nagging. These mother-in-laws are not evil people. They're also lacking love, appreciation, something that they never got. Now they see it happening below them. What does it create? This is the problem. I don't think any mother-in-law or father-in-law, I should not say any because there are some evil people on our planet. Evil exists and I've seen it. I've seen evil, man. But I'm saying I don't want to focus on that. But most of the mother-in-laws, father-in-laws creating issues for their newly married family is because they don't have what they need. So that's why I tell people don't retire. Don't retire. Have a purpose. We're meant to have a purpose till our dying day. Enjoy your life. Work less. Take holidays. Go everywhere. You earned it. But keep that brain working because it gives you a sense of fulfillment and power. So attitude is related to that missing thing. We hold on to entitlement because we don't have these things. So now I'll use designation. I'm the CEO. That's my identity. Yes, you're the CEO. These are your roles and responsibilities. But outside of that role, you're a human being, right? You could be the wealthiest person. You could be a billionaire, but so many of them are still craving love, appreciation, and a sense of belonging. Yeah. So it comes down to that.
One of the things I've kind of picked up from this whole conversation that we're having is that superiority complexes can cause a lot of pain and a lot of disturbance in a good world. I truly believe that superiority complexes can be broken through physical activity. So when you're lifting a very heavy weight and you're not able to lift it,
it humbles you.
It humbles you. Or if you're playing football and someone scores a goal against your team, that moment that you see the ball hit the net, there's a part of you, even if it's for like a second, it sinks.
Absolutely.
Say,
Yeah.
Why did this go? Let me try scoring again.
Yeah.
That's the joy of playing football as well. Or when you lose your wicket in a cricket game. Same logic. That little sinking feeling is needed for the human experience so that you don't develop a superiority complex. Which is, I think, the logic behind why people should embrace physical fitness in the long term.
Competition, competitive sports. But today, it's everyone's a winner. How can everyone be a winner? How can everyone be a winner? In the real world, there's only one first place. There's one CEO. So you're training people to fail in the real world. Everyone is not a winner. Competition is... Now there's healthy competition and then there's negative competition. Healthy competition keeps us going. That's dopamine. It humbles you. You realize that you're not the best at everything. You got to work for it. You got to put in work. Do you think you're the best just because you're Ranveer? No, you put in the work. You put in sacrifice. You put in all of these things. But some entitled people will think, oh, I have my father's money. I'll get the best studio, the best equipment and do this. And there are many people doing it and they fail. Why? Intention is wrong and they're working from a space of entitlement. When you work from a space of intention, everything changes. So that superiority complex actually comes from an inferiority complex. People put up a you act superior to others because you're actually inferior. Because if you have everything, if you're fulfilled everything, the want is to let other people grow. I always say, I look around and I say, why do people pull one another down? Why? Because again, they don't have love, they don't have appreciation, and they don't have the three cornerstones. If they have that, now Ranveer, if you have everything in your life and I have everything in my life, these three things, maybe some of it is less, some of it is more, you actually feel that sense of true love for people around you. You want them to come up in life. You're so fulfilled. But most people are not fulfilled. So envy creeps in, pulling down. Someone's really happy when someone gets divorced. Someone's always judging someone else's relationship. The biggest issue that we have, you spoke about physical activity. And so many people know it and don't do it. They have excuses, lack of time, lack of this, across all ages. But they have time to judge other people's relationships. They have time to judge, why aren't you married? You're 32, you're 28. They're not looking at their life. They're putting so much energy into, oh, who divorced? Oh, he was like that. I knew she would do this. I knew he would do that. She's a slut. He's this, he's that. The amount of time and energy they go into judging other people, sometimes I just ask these people, how much time have you made for yourself? Oh, I don't have time for my workout, but you have time to sit with your friends and talk about, this comes from superiority complexes again. The feeling that I am valid to judge everyone else. I'm above everyone else. And that's the biggest downfall for people.
Don't have time to work out.
Yeah.
But you truly need like 20 minutes a day.
Bro, I know people who have built, I'm not saying built massive bodies, but built their journey of health by starting with 10 minutes. Starting with 10 minutes. It's all about starting, right? See, it's about consistency, the law of motion, inertia. Once you start the ball rolling, it rolls. It stops, it needs the push again.
You know what's really altered my viewpoint on time? Instagram Reels. Like when I want time to pass by really quick,
Yeah.
like if I'm waiting for someone to get to office or for a guest to come for the show,
Yeah.
I just open Reels. And before I know it, 17 minutes have gone by within the time span of me watching 17 Reels.
And I have an honest question for you. Do you remember every one of those reels?
Not at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
You might see like one reel or two reels in a day, which will stay with you and
Which stay
change
with you.
something.
Yes,
But
exactly.
it's just time pass.
Yeah. I do that as, by my class, I watch so many reels and I say, okay, what was your key takeaways? Not even one. Then I say, watch one and come back and discuss that with me.
Yeah.
But that's dopamine burning. We're burning dopamine so quickly, it's actually affecting memory. It's making our capacity to consolidate memory weaker and weaker. That's the danger of too many reels.
I think everyone's watching Reels nowadays, right? People of all ages.
I think so. And I'm worried actually more about the elderly population. I know it's entertainment for them and they have valid. Look, my kids are not at home. I'm all alone. My husband's there. My wife's there. Well, I understand. But I'm like, okay, do it mindfully because the faster you burn, you're already cognitively declining. You don't want to burn dopamine that fast. So I'm actually more concerned about that population.
They're also consuming a lot of short content?
Huge.
Yeah?
Huge. Short content because it's available, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Sometimes loneliness is worse. But people think that can actually take care of loneliness. It can actually make you more lonely.
Watching
What you
short
see,
content.
because you're seeing someone else's life all the time. What's it making you feel? More inadequate, more lesser about yourself. So it doesn't sort loneliness. It doesn't. Entertainment is for entertaining. It's not to take away life problems. Loneliness is about going out there, building better relationships. I think every human being at today's age should focus on how can I make sure I have a life where I'm not lonely? Because it is a big problem. Because if you know that now, you'll start planting the right seeds. You'll start really cherishing relationships that are meant to be cherished. You won't throw it away because you believe I have 1 million people on Instagram loving me. Okay? They're not going to be there when you're lonely. So the point is plant those seeds today, everyone. Because we should keep in mind, loneliness is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
And one would assume that it's a very Gen Z or young working professional problem. But everyone's going through it. Like I speak to my parents as friends. I speak to teenagers. Yeah. For some reason, not for some reason, it's probably social media. Everyone's gotten lonelier. I don't think there's a guy here and we're together like every day. We're very well bonded, but all of us feel one degree of loneliness. Much more than we did 10 years ago.
Let's break it down. What is loneliness? Nothing but disconnection, one with ourselves and two with people around. Because everyone's so busy. What do we talk about mostly? Work. Right? What can we do better? Ambition, purpose. Great, talk about that. But we also have to make time to connect. See, without human connection, we are going to be a failing population. No longevity supplement in the world can make you live longer more than your social connections. Can you say that sentence again? Yeah, no longevity supplement in the world can make you live longer more than social connections. Social connections is everything. Look at the blue zone. The data's there. Dan's done a fantastic job with that data. Look at our oldest living patients. Ask them. Ask any person. In fact, I encourage people, whenever you see someone who's 90, 95, 100, whatever, ask them what's keeping you there. They will talk about social connections, routine, and keeping things simple. Most of them are not even taking an omega or a zinc. which we think it is. Now, I'm not against longevity supplements. Supplements that can reduce inflammation quickly, all of that stuff plays a role. But it's not everything. And that's why I'm hugely against certain cultures that are trying to put our culture into a box. Parent like this, fast like this, do it like this, emotional thoughts like this. How? We're such unique individuals with different experiences. And when you come down to traditional India, the magic is there. Of course, we can learn from other cultures. We're a carb-heavy country, cut it down. There's science. There's always great stuff we can learn. But this whole image of people aping certain cultures and putting themselves into a box. I'm a Gen Z, so I need to behave like a Gen Z. You're a Gen Z with so much more potential than to be boxed into a Gen Z box. The label is what's destroying people. So millennial, but Luke, I'm a millennial. I said, so what? So what if you're a millennial? Strip off millennial. You're a human being with so much of potential. All relationships are bad today. No, that's untrue. The people you're talking to who have bad relationships has become your world. Go and talk to people who have great relationships. Go and talk to people who are building intimacy in their relationships. Every relationship isn't bad. Every drug isn't bad. Every food isn't bad. But we generalize these things. So, that's a huge problem. So loneliness is nothing but disconnection. So I'm disconnected with myself. So I need to feel happy. What do I connect to? Dopamine. Where do I find dopamine? Social media, binge drinking, binge smoking, mindless alcohol consumption, shopping, doing things, overdoing things. But once I connect with myself, these things can still exist. But I'm connected. Humans are meant to be connected first with yourself. And because I'm connected with myself, Ranveer, I can see you beyond you. Otherwise, what can I see you as? A podcaster, talking to people. That's the general vision. If I'm a disconnected person, I can find 50 faults with you right now. But because I'm connected with myself, I see you differently, my perception of you. So people who are disconnected and connected more with dating apps and all of these things and the negativity of it, will only see it in a negative light. That, apps are this. How many people have built beautiful relationships through a dating app? It all comes down to connection and perception.
I want to talk about how I cured my own loneliness, and I truly feel happy at this point in life. But for a majority of the last 3 years, I felt deep levels of loneliness. The first was having a stable partner. I have a stable partner now, and it's very nice.
Beautiful.
And there was some theoretical knowledge that went into deciding that this person should be my partner, and a bunch of past mistakes. Realizing that this is what I want in a partner, this is what I don't want in a partner. So that's a cornerstone. Secondly, consciously making time for my childhood bros or the guys I grew up with who just, talk to you for who you were and not who you're becoming.
True.
The third is giving my time to family, parents, my cousins, my niece, etc. And the fourth is sports. Like, these were the 4 pillars that just fixed so much for me. But truly, when you boil it down to its core logic, I added social time to my routine.
Yeah, beautiful. You've done everything the way it's supposed to be. There's nothing I need to add to what you've said. You're doing it perfectly. But I do want to go back to the relationship. What in that relationship are you getting right now that has really made you, move into these? Because love is the game changer for everything. People behave differently in love. What are you getting in this relationship that has moved you onto this path? Which emotion?
Shanti.
Peace.
Like, ease.
Would you feel Shanti? Would you feel peace if you had to fight for this love or struggle for it every day?
No.
Or be someone who you're not to try to get it?
No, not at all.
Exactly. So again, it's love and peace.
At least I noticed this around me. I'm sure this is the case for women as well, but I noticed that for a lot of the guys around me, they like chasing relationships where it's exciting but not peaceful. And those relationships are very nice for like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Because it's very exciting and it plays with your hormonal system and you feel
Dopamine.
passionate.
Dopamine, pure dopamine. Yeah.
And then by the end of the year, you're just tired.
Yeah.
So, I think that used to be my pattern as well. Chasing passion. And with this one, I've broken that pattern consciously where the relationship started off very lukewarm and it built up into something very nice, because that's the true nature of what I believe a long-term relationship can be. It needs to begin with a sense of lukewarm peace and then build up into growth of both the people, growth of the relationship, and fulfillment. I feel that like when I'm with my partner now, what I feel is a sense of I don't need to go out to feel fulfilled. Like I can just sit here. Maybe I'm playing on my PlayStation and she's cooking a meal for herself. And that's the beauty of this relationship. That's where the Shanti comes from, where I don't have to prove anything. She doesn't have to prove anything.
Bro, cherish this. It's very rare. It's very rare, but your thinking and your evolution has brought you to this point. See, everyone makes mistakes. Who doesn't? But truly, when you ask most men what they want, I'm talking about real men, okay? You are boys and you are men. No disrespect to either. You'll behave like a boy like we all did when we were boys. But the point is, most men will first say, peace. Peace. Most women will also say peace, because that's what the soul craves. With peace, now you can build passion. You can build intimacy. There's no resistance. There's no constant, oh, how will I look if I don't put my makeup on today? Or how will I look if I don't dress up well in front of my partner? We're all trying to be something else in those relationships. And it's all about doing rather than being. I love the way you've entered this. And I know for the longest time, you've needed that relationship, Ranveer. You really have. And I'm so happy for you. I mean, cherish it. When I say cherish it, it doesn't mean to put pressure. Some things work, some things don't. But what you have right now is in the present moment. Enjoy it in the present moment. Don't think about the future. It's out of your control. It's out of our control. We can't even control what's going to happen in the next 1 hour. We think we can, but we can't. Beautiful. I'm so happy for you. Maybe there's a reason we had to have this 1.5 year gap. You were evolving in your own way. I am as well. And I think the gap is perfect.
I always need at least a year between the podcasts with you. Because I know that there's a very special energy and there are very special messages that come out of these conversations, which need time to cook up. You need to have life experiences to be able to do conversations with Luke Coutinho. I want to talk about epigenetics a little bit. A friend of mine, very dear friend, Akshat Rajan, he's told me about epigenetics for the first time. And he basically said, I don't remember the exact science behind it, but it's something like how your life experiences can alter gene expression. And another way of understanding that is something as simple as cuddling, which releases your oxytocin. Can have an impact on your immunity, can have an impact on your overall levels of resting cortisol, which means you'll just take lesser stress in life. Load kam loge, as they call it. Which is why this angle of, hey, I really want a relationship, or the best version of me comes out in a relationship. This is the science behind it. That stability is actually altering your genes. So maybe the question I want to pose to you, and this is very relevant to today's conversation as well, is what is epigenetics? Because this is a field that's just starting to be understood by the world of healthcare. I don't even think we've truly dive deep into the subject from a science perspective, but please take over.
Great. So your friend Akshat is absolutely right in what he said. Where we failed as a country, okay, and not just our country, most countries fail with this arrogance of thinking that just because we don't know something, it's not important. And because of that attitude, we don't learn how much there is in this world. Like we were talking about astrology before this, and you asked me what my opinion on astrology is. I said, I don't understand it. I've not delved into it, so I'm no one to judge it. But I've heard great stuff about it. Now, I've been a student of Dr. Bruce Lipton, okay, who is literally the father of epigenetics when it comes to the subconscious mind. And his first book, The Biology of Belief, I remember writing to him when I was probably 18 or 19. I believed in what he said because it just tied in with all the statistics of medical disease and everything else. I definitely recommend for people to read The Biology of Belief, where he clearly talks about how right now you and I can upregulate or downregulate a gene, even with a thought. See, a thought, when you feel, if I make you angry right now, Ranveer, okay, it started off because you heard me say something, or maybe I'm showing you a gesture, like I show you a middle finger, which for you is anger, whatever. Thought, perceived. What changes first? Your blood chemistry. Your blood chemistry influences every gene in your body. So that's why they say when you're too acidic, there are problems. You're too alkaline, there are problems. Your blood chemistry is changed. So the way you digest food, the way you extract protein, amino acids out of protein and get it into your muscles is all controlled with your blood chemistry. So now epigenetics is nothing but, and this is the biggest problem which we had in our country. Oh, your father had type 2 diabetes, you're going to have it. Your father had a cardiovascular disease, you're going to have it. It's absolutely untrue. You got to be more careful. You can have it, the gene exists, but you don't have to have it. Because now if I change my lifestyle, which is the way I eat, the way I move, the way I sleep, and the way I think, that is one part of epigenetics. Control of the internal environment. Epi means environment, genetics. So the environment is over the genes. It can influence the same way rain can influence a crop. It's on top, the crop is below. Now I have my internal environment, which is dependent on what I eat, how I move, my sleep, and my thinking. My external environment can also upregulate and downregulate a gene. Am I in a toxic relationship? Am I in a toxic workplace? Is there pollution? Too much of pollution is upregulating and downregulating genes. Now, the external environment talks to my internal environment. Most people who have gut problems today don't need more probiotics. They just really, really have to work on their environments, outside and inside of them. Because right now, let's say we both go to Greece. Okay? The food that we eat is not going to be what our microbes change the moment we breathe in air of Greece. So that's why you try to eat local where you go, because your gut microbes will start to change according to the air that you're breathing. So now epigenetics, a night of sleep, a sleep deprivation, 2-3 nights, is scientifically proven it can express the worst gene in you. And a great night of sleep can also turn off a gene that was about to express into a negative form. So epigenetics is nothing but the control of environment influencing our genes. And that's why we know today that whenever you do a gene test, there's no medicine to change your gene. It's only information telling you that, hey, what does your doctor tell you? Hey, change your lifestyle. Because it's only your lifestyle that can. When it comes to genetic drugs, there are very, very few drugs that can actually help genes. But genetic testing tells us you have a BRCA1, you have a BRCA2, you have this particular gene. But now, what do you do about it? The only thing that is in your control is your lifestyle. So sleep deprivation messes up your genes in a huge way. It gives you a platform to express the worst in you. So like a simple teenager, oh, look, I have acne, I have all of this, give me creams, give me all of that. Yeah, but what's causing it? I know I'm sleep deprived. When I sleep well, my skin glows. So you see, this is what epigenetics is. So our beliefs, Ranveer, and that's why I want people to read this book, The Biology. What you believe. I have patients today who I know, I'm not going to take credit for their healing. They've healed because they've changed their belief. They've changed their belief. Simple. Yeah.
Final question today's podcast is about the actionables related to epigenetics. So you spoke about sleep and all the guidelines when it comes to sleep, and there's countless videos on YouTube about how to sleep, right? It's just about people following this.
Yes, action.
Yeah. My three, there's countless sleep guidelines, but the three most key ones for me are: don't use your phone before bed, ideally.
Absolutely.
Take a 2-hour break. Second,
or use blue blockers, because I don't want people to feel this pressure. Some people need to work looking at their phones before bed, different time zones. Use blue blockers. Blue blockers cut off the blue light. It will still help you sleep deeply, rather than just in case you can't do it. But wear blue blockers. So that could, be a solution.
A cold and dark room.
Yes.
And the third one I'd probably say is either stretching or meditation before bed if you're struggling to go to sleep. So this is one set of actionables.
Yeah.
Would you say that the second actionable is thought process?
Absolutely. Because see, to sleep, I need to be in the parasympathetic nervous system. I can't sleep if I'm in sympathetic.
About epigenetics.
Yeah. About epigenetics. Yeah. So now when we go to sleep, it's not about how many hours I sleep. It's about deep sleep. I need to go through my REMs and my non-REMs, not the quantity. Some people sleep 8 hours and are still tired, because it's in these REMs and non-REMs that everything affecting my gene expression happens, all the magic. So yes, deep sleep will impact the way your genes express.
What I've gained from this conversation is the impact that positive self-talk creates.
Mm-hmm.
So a bit of positive self-talk, which for a lot of people happens only after they go for therapy.
Yeah.
That's what therapy is about. I've realized over time.
But not toxic positivity. Like, I'm feeling sad right now, but I feel amazing. No. Feel the sadness. Don't become a victim to it. I should embrace my sadness, but also say, I feel sad, but hey, I found this that can make me happy. I try to change the thought. I don't try to become toxic positive. I'm having an issue. I'm grieving. Someone's just died in my family, but it's okay. It's life and death. It's spiritual. You try to like hide your... No, that's toxic positivity. Feel. We're meant to feel emotions, not repress and suppress them. And then the sooner I can change from a negative to a positive thought, that's the magic. Okay, she said this, he did this, whatever, but it's all right, man. Let me move on. Let me find something how soon we can move from negative to positive. That's it.
And would you say that the final angle here is about social connections?
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Uplifting social connections, not the fitting in type that I need to smoke for this group of friends to accept me. I need to be mean because this group is famous because everyone's mean. Not that. That'll actually make you age way faster. Real, few powerful, which you can even count on your fingers, where you know that when you think of this person, I feel so good. I can pick up the phone, uplifting social connection. That is longevity and that is epigenetics as well.
I think that's the end of today's podcast.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this. Thank you. Yeah.
As always, thank you for your time and see you next year after a little bit of evolution and a few life stories.
Absolutely. I'm really happy for you. Cherish what you have. You've done it the right way and I'm just so happy for you right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What I want to say at the end of this episode is that every time I've met you in the past and we've recorded an episode in the past, I've had an element of sadness inside me. This is the first time where I'm genuinely happy in life. Life's great, but you've had a major role to play in this 9-year journey. Like, I know you know this, but I'm very, very grateful towards you and I don't have the words to express gratitude. I've had so many moments over the course of TRS and these episodes with you where I've broken down on screen. Some of those moments haven't even been released to the public, but you've been such a big part of my long-term happiness. So I'm genuinely grateful and you're the guy I aspire to be.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The changing factor in your life right now is love. I can feel it, bro. I can feel it. I can see it. I can feel it. And that's the beauty of it. Cherish it. It's a beautiful energy. Beautiful energy. And I'm so happy you have it in your life right now.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Really look up to you. Thank you.
Take care.
That was the episode for today, ladies and gentlemen. If this is the first time you're watching Luke Coutinho on TRS, you have missed out on all our past episodes. That's all I'll say. I'm going to link that entire playlist with all of the Luke Coutinho's episodes down below. Make sure you check it out. They're all related to different topics, but it's the same positivity. It's the same power and it's the same aura that Luke carries with him. Until next time, guys, TRS will be back and I will be looking forward to the next time we have Luke Coutinho on board. Lots of love and thank you for your support.